the potential Liberal leader head-to-head against the Conservative leader, the current Conservative leader. Most Canadians who answered this survey feel as though Mark Carney is better suited and would do a better job negotiating with Donald Trump.
Well, President Donald Trump is swinging the hammer as hard and as far as he can, and it is upsetting so many people, which is extremely entertaining. So we're going to be starting off by taking a look at some of that stuff, and then we're also going to be taking a look at immigration updates, foreign student updates, and how much money we're actually spending, not just on our politicians, but our governor general. The salary is outrageous. And then you're starting to see the liberal propaganda machine go into full effect. And the mainstream media is already trying to claim they're planting all these seeds. They're planting all these seeds that Canadians would prefer Mark Carney than Pierre Poilievre when it comes to running our country and when it comes to negotiating with Trump, which I don't know how that's even possible since Mark Carney is not an elected official. It doesn't make any sense. And the argument is, well, we need, a person there who knows what he's doing. Okay, how about a politician? Pierre's a politician. How does he not know what he's doing? Super bizarre that the media is trying to push this narrative. So we're going to be taking a look at all of that and more. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage y'all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. And before we get into it, I do want to say that yesterday I launched a video about how Global Affairs seemingly deleted a lot of their footage on, what Canada, what our government's been spending money on. 78 million to the government of Jordan and 20 million to Egypt and blah, 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 just a bunch of stuff. And there was these rumors that were speculating. And I was pretty clear about it in yesterday's video that that was taken down to hide their tracks. But turns out that they were doing maintenance. Yeah. I'll just leave that one there. Anyways, let's get into this video here. Starting off with the polls, you got Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives sitting at 220 smackaroo seats. Projection, they're down from the 230s, which it is what it is. I mean, Justin Trudeau was at the very bottom. He bottomed out the Liberal Party, and we've all known and speculated that they were going to rise in popularity regardless of who was running, because as long as it wasn't Trudeau, they were literally going to go up. That's the only direction. And they have. The Liberal Party went from 35 seats up to 63 projected, but not to worry, because the Conservatives are still sitting at 99% likely across the board for winning the most seats and odds of a majority government. So a little bit of turbulence, but still nothing to worry about. And now let's take a look at what our president, well, not our president, but the president of the United States is saying here on X. So he's dropping just screenshots of Truth Social. And he's saying, I will be signing an executive order next week ending the ridiculous Biden push for paper straws, which won't work. Back to plastic. I think we'd like that. Every time I take my kids out to eat or whatever it is, they always get paper straws, man. It's so freaking annoying. It's so freaking annoying. Then he also says that U.S. aid is driving the radical left crazy, and there's nothing they can do about it because the way in which the money has been spent, so much of it is fraudulently, it's totally unexplainable. The corruption at all levels rarely seen before. Close it down. So you're really starting to see Doge take into full effect, right? Elon Musk with the government of Department of Government Efficiency. Then he also says, exciting news. Due to my executive order, which I proudly signed yesterday, the NCAA has officially changed their policy of allowing men in women's sports. It is now banned. This is a great day for women and girls across the country. Men should have never been allowed to compete against women in the first place, but I am proud to be the president and save women's sports. We expect the Olympics Committee to also use common sense and implement this policy, which is very popular among the American people and the entire world. That's an incredible thing to have accomplished. Like, that on its own is absolutely phenomenal, and we very much need that type of mentality and that type of strength in Canada. And then you also have Trump saying that he will announce reciprocal tariffs on many countries next week. And there is an article that breaks it down. Trump announced tariffs of 25% on Canada and Mexico on Saturday, but delayed them after negative reaction from investors. That's not at all why he delayed them. He's just trying to make sure that Canada and Mexico are actually doing it and not just pledging to do it, which is something that Trudeau and government of Canada and the Liberals have been doing forever. Is we're going to do this, and then they don't. It's just like a headline, and we just run with it. We think we forget about it, and we just assume that things are taking action. But no, he's forcing Canada to actually take action, and if we don't do it properly, if we don't do it to his satisfaction, we're going to get hit with a trade war. We are going to go into a tariff slap for slap for slap for slap until they punch us in the face, and it's not looking good. So at least the government is taking action. Finally, all it took was a very strong American president. But hey, that's Canada for you. Then you've got this post right here, switching over to Canadian news. The Six Buzz is saying 20,000 Indian students failed to enroll at their post-secondary institutions after arriving in Canada, raising fraud concerns by Canadians. And this is something that's been a huge problem. Even the general public, viewers of this channel, we've all watched this happen time and time again. And it's extremely scary because our entire immigration system is being abused. You can't immigrate here. It's difficult to immigrate here as an adult. So you come under the guise of 2S LGBTQI plus refugee. Come on in, says Canada. Come on in. No, we gotta really take a look at that and tighten that up. Then students are coming in. Well, students, right? Okay, well, we're going to be an international student, and it just happens to be a lot of Indian international students. And as we're finding out, they're not even going to their school. And they're just running from the law, and our government isn't cracking down. We're not deporting them. We're not chasing them down. We let them have bank accounts. Like, it's craziness. That's obviously not a sustainable way to run a country, and is very much not racist to talk about this. The media wants to make it seem like it's racist, but now with Trump being president, I feel like there's just going to be so much like awareness to these loopholes being abused and this and that, and it's giving people a little bit more confidence socially to talk about this. So yeah, something to consider at the next Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. And then you've got this post right here on X. I see we are now paying the Governor General $378,000 a year to literally do nothing, says JJ McCullough. And as you can see here from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation website, you can see how much the Governor General actually gets paid. In 2019, the salary was $302,000. Fast forward 6 years to 2025, salary has shot up $378,000. That's a big $76,000 raise in 6 years, which I don't know what percentage that equals to, but that is a lot of money. And I don't think anyone would really say, hey, well, you know what? The Governor General certainly earned that pay. I don't think so. I really don't think that that's the case at all. But that's my opinion, folks. I would absolutely love to know yours. And then we've got this clip here from the Breakfast Television interviewing Canadian Chihuahua, François Chapin, and just talking about tariffs with Trump. Let's take a look.
But just to be clear, you didn't get the opportunity to bring that message directly to members of Trump's team.
No, I was in Congress because, you know, some of the colleagues have not yet been confirmed, and there's I would say there's a rule or a tradition that until colleagues are confirmed, they will not really engage formally. So a number of my colleagues had informal discussion. But what I can say is that we were there meeting with senators, meeting with people in Congress, business leaders. And what I can say to Canadians, the tone has changed. And so this is a good thing. We're going to redouble our efforts. And today is a moment like that for Canada. I want an ambitious Canada. I want a confident Canada. I want a Canada that's going to be prosperous. And that's the message that we're going to bring here in I was about to say Washington, here in Toronto.
Jesus. All right. That's not even in the same country, buddy. I feel like the Liberal government is being absolutely steamrolled by President Trump, by America, and it doesn't help when you have such a biased media organization in Canada, like what we're about to take a look at, CTV, propping up these Liberals and their agenda. So now we're segueing into Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre, and I don't know how anyone could say, well, we would rather Mark Carney do anything here in Canada over Pierre, because he's been an advisor, but he's not a politician. He doesn't know how this show goes about. I mean, the guy was a banker. He's got like what, different passports, 3-4 different passports, or something like that. He hasn't even lived in Canada for the past several years or a dozen years or something like that. I mean, what the hell? Mark Carney running Canada? Super weird. But CTV swears. They say, hey, look, Canadians pick Mark Carney over Poilievre, Chrystia Freeland, and Karina Gould to negotiate with Trump. Nanos survey. How are they even deciding that? Like, that literally doesn't make any sense. Canadians pick Mark Carney over Pierre, according to a survey. Not rumored to, not speculation. No. Canadians absolutely pick. Look, we're going to watch a video in a moment here, but let me know down in the comments if you pick Carney over Pierre. Like, just say Mark Carney or just say Pierre Poilievre down in the comments. And to those who haven't reached this far in the video, there might be a lot of Pierre Poilievre comments down below. And be like, what the heck's going on? But just let me know. 1, 2, 3 times, however many times you feel is necessary. Pierre Poilievre or Mark Carney. Put it down in the comments who should be running this show. But let's take a look here at CTV's video defending the fact that they would prefer, Canadians absolutely prefer Mark Carney over Pierre. It's unbelievable.
CTV's Jeremy Sharon from Ottawa to talk a little bit more about this survey and the race and how things are shaping up. But let's stick with the survey first. Negotiations are oh so important at this juncture. And Carney, not surprisingly, I guess, probably the one people would like to see.
Yeah, they're interesting numbers, Roger, because, it's the first time we've seen Carney kind of head-to-head in some polling against Pierre Poilievre. Important to note this is not election polling. The latest Nanos election polling, as well as most public opinion polls, still have the Conservatives leading the way, ahead with a healthy gap ahead of the Liberals. But this is interesting to note that through this survey, Canadians who were asked feel as though they think Mark Carney would do a better job negotiating with Donald Trump than Pierre Poilievre, as well as the other Liberal leadership candidates. Of course, Mark Carney, the front runner in that Liberal leadership race. And so when you put kind of the potential Liberal leader head-to-head against the Conservative leader, the current Conservative leader, most Canadians who answered this survey feel as though Mark Carney is better suited and would do a better job negotiating with Donald Trump. Again, the big question will be,
that just seems like an absolute load of crap. I've never met anyone that has come out and said that, or even that Mark Carney would be better than Justin Trudeau. We don't know what the hell Mark Carney is capable of. We've seen his banking history and how he's a part of the World Economic Forum, but to normies, right? Normies that aren't into that don't even acknowledge that the WEF is a real thing, right? To normies that don't watch YouTube videos and don't do deep dives or don't do their own cross-referencing, they just watch CTV and CBC. This is called leading people. They're leading people to suggest that this is the truth with one of their polls. And I think that this is a little disingenuous for the media to come out and say that absolutely with the one poll that they've done, how many people do they survey? How many people? I'm going to do a community tab post. It may actually be up before you even see this video, because after I stop recording to when I upload, bit of a buffer period, right? Bit of a buffer. So maybe you'll actually have already voted and you'll be like, oh, that makes sense now because I'm watching it. And then I already voted. That makes total sense. But we're probably going to get 10,000 votes or something like that on the poll here, which is huge. I mean, Abacus or Nanos, they ask 10 or 100 people or 1,000 people. That's it. These independent polls that I can do, you can't say that I have a bias. It's an algorithm. It's YouTube. It's social media. It's open borders. Anybody and everybody can come and vote. So it just feels a little bit disingenuous to lead this, right? To lead this and say Carney is a top choice to negotiate with Trump. I don't believe it at all. I do not believe it, and I'm here to debunk it, and I hope my videos get more views than theirs, because it seems like nonsense.
Whether or not that translates at all into election polling, and whether we see any kind of movement in that sustained gap that we have seen between the Conservatives and the Liberals. The other big factor here is what will be the ballot question. The Liberals, of course, especially given these kind of numbers that we're seeing, the data that we're seeing from questions like this, will want the ballot question to be U.S.-Canada relations, the negotiation with Donald Trump. The Conservatives will continue to try and focus on the carbon tax. make this a carbon tax election. We've heard that over and over again. The big question is, what kind of an impact will this have ultimately, Roger, on the election polling and, of course, ultimately on a general election? That is still unknown.
And with the carbon tax, when you've had Carney and Freeland coming out essentially saying they'd tweak it or change it, that's kind of losing steam. So it could shape up that the whole tariff thing could be the big question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly what the Liberals are hoping for. If they start to pick up steam on that topic, you can expect them to keep hitting it hard, of course, and pitching themselves as the party that is best suited to deal with Donald Trump. It's all going to come down to what that election focus is. The other thing this survey looked at, Roger, is a number of questions surrounding tariffs, surrounding the U.S.-Canada relationship, and a lot of the things Donald Trump has been criticizing Canada for. When it comes to whether or not Canada should respond or how Canada should respond, when given various options as to how Canada could respond to the potential of tariffs, 58% support retaliation, immediate retaliation with retaliatory tariffs by Canada. That's up from 29%.
Again, that's not true. That's absolutely not true, man. People aren't realizing the impacts of this. Like, I feel like they're making up their numbers, or they have an extreme bias or selective process to come up with these statistics. That's insane. Anybody with a brain, anybody who can see beyond just what they're having for dinner. Think a little bit long term. Okay, dinner's in 4 hours from now. Am I going to have pork chops or am I going to have ribs? Anyone who can think beyond that, just a little bit, just venture off a little bit, right? Think about tomorrow. Think about next week. Think about next month. What's that going to look like being in a trade war with America? All of our exports, the majority of our exports, the majority of Canada's money comes from selling to America. You really want to pick a fight with that? We are nothing without America. We have an opportunity to be something, but that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. But right now, I hate to say it, but we're tied at the hip to America. We're the little brothers of America. If America wants us to tie their shoes, then we tie their shoes. There's nothing that we could do about it right now. There's absolutely nothing we could do. So this whole thing of we support retaliatory tariffs, no, we freaking don't, man. Absolutely not. That's insane. That's insane behavior.
Of Canadians who felt that way in December. 21% said that Canada should be focused on negotiating a lifting of the tariffs. In December, that was 47% of Canadians. So many have shifted their approach when it comes to how Canada should handle this. They feel as though we should be more focused now on a retaliation rather than efforts to try and minimize these tariffs or have these tariffs removed. When it comes to what that retaliation should look like, Roger, we're talking about significant support for a wide range of retaliatory measures. 78% of people support and 10% support pulling alcohol off the shelves across provinces. We saw a lot of premiers talk about that when the tariffs were being rolled out. Dollar for dollar tariff response, 68% of Canadians support that, 21% somewhat support it. And then cutting off export, energy exports, which is something that has been widely talked about as a negotiating tool. 51% of Canadians support that, 25% somewhat support that. The survey also showed, Roger, that there is widespread support for increased defense spending in Canada. That's also been obviously another big topic.
Okay, so
there should be 100% for increased defense spending in our country. Anyone who doesn't agree with increased defense spending, you should seek help. You should talk to a therapist, because the world is not some made up liberal utopia. There's real threats out there, and our enemies are very, very, very angry with us. We got a lot of enemies. Canada's got a lot of enemies. And these facts that 70% of people agree that we should be, or whatever the hell he said the number was for pulling alcohol off the shelves. If you support trying to sabotage America like that and take their alcohol off the shelves, man, you're freaking nuts. Like, I rarely throw that stuff out there, but there's something wrong, unless I'm missing something, unless it's going over my head. But supporting a retaliatory response against America, man, get some help. That's not a Team Canada approach. America's not just going to sit there and get bitch slapped by Canada and say, okay, well, we hit you, you hit us, I guess we're even. This is dealing with Trump. I don't think people, these wacko liberals, they don't understand. Trump's not doing another term. He doesn't care. He's not seeking re-election. He's swinging the hammer as hard as he possibly can. This is about legacy for him. He's already accomplished more in the first couple of weeks, the first few weeks of him being president, than Biden did in 4 freaking years. Yesterday, Trudeau did a speech and he said, you know what it's like to know that your time's coming to an end for a job as prime minister? Let me tell you. I can be ruthless for the things that I want to do and the things that I don't want to do. Okay, so that's just Trudeau trying to peacock, going, ha, I'm a big man. My time is coming up and I'm just going to do whatever I want. With Canada, do whatever you want. With Canada, there's nothing to do. We have no money. We have no stuff. We have no equipment. What are you going to do to Canada? The only thing he's doing is sabotaging. America has a crazy baton to whack others with, crazy military to take over others with, infinite money to do whatever they want. You're not going to hurt America's economy. You're not going to hurt America putting even a dent in it. You're going to be a mosquito if Canada tries any sort of retaliatory response. It's insane. So I'm taking a hard stance on that. You support with a retaliatory response, man, get some help. There is something wrong with you. That's the end of the video, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't piss too many people off. If you're not pissed off, please like the video because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pissed off people, and subscribe to this channel. And we'll see you guys in another one. Bye for now.